What's up everybody, welcome back to another Remnant 2 video. Guys, in this video I will showcase the 3 best builds in the game right now. No bugs, no glitches, no nothing. With these builds you will be able to face any type of enemy that you will find in the new DLC. The first build is a high physical DPS build, the second one is a mod mage elemental type build with 2 variants, and the third one is going to be a super tank support type build to face any high damage enemies. With the new loadouts you will be able to equip these builds with a click of a button, facing any type of enemies that are coming your way. I don't want to keep you waiting, let's jump into the builds. Our first build is going to be a very high physical damage build. We are critting up to 9k damage and we are using the bow Sagittarius. You are not bound to use the same long gun because this build works with every gun in the game. For example, you could go with the AR and the Momentum Mutator. After the fix to the Fairing Sigil, Crescent Moon is not the top DPS bow in my opinion. The Sagittarius can do significantly higher damage than the Crescent Moon and is going to be more consistent in the damage overall. This build is highly detailed and everything works in perfect harmony. To make sure that the build works perfectly, you must copy-paste every single part of this build, unless your playstyle is a little bit different. The only thing that I must say you must get comfortable with is the slower draw rate, because we are not using the supercharger. If that's a problem for you, you can use the supercharger instead, but you will lose a big amount of damage. Guys, I didn't use the full fights, you are seeing just clips of some bosses that I killed with this build. For the new DPS build, we're gonna use Hunter Shroud with Attack Dog, Abrasive Whetstone, Burden of Destroyer, or Ring of Lord Beauty if the boss has an easy weak spot, Probability Cord, Xania's Malice, and Archer's Crest. For our long gun, we are using the Sagittarius. The key for this build to do 9k damage is the top heavy mode. We have bonus 15% range damage and 20% weak spot damage all the time because the capacity of the bows are always full. On top of that, we're gonna use the Death Brand, which will add 10% increased weak spot damage as well, and Twisted Wounds to make the target bleed in case our dog is not attacking it. The melee weapon for this build is irrelevant, but we're gonna pair it with a nice melee that is doing something for this build. So we're gonna use the Assassin's Dagger and the Stormbringer. I recommend Void Heart for this build, guys, and on the Void Heart, 10% range crit chance, 20% range crit damage, and 15% weak spot damage. As for the armor, use whatever you prefer, go heavier if you like, go with more armor. I just love this drip and I stick with it. Here you can see the traits as well. Guys, don't forget to use footwork because it's gonna help you dodge many attacks while you're ADSing. If you have been in the channel before, you would know that mod mage type builds are my favorite in this game. The new Meridian has a special place in my heart now that it pairs perfectly with the mod mage build. Take a look at how much damage this build can do. As long as you trap them in a firestorm, you just unleash hell with this new Meridian and they are melting. There is another variant of this build that we will see in the next clip that is coming up after Cancer. Take a look at how we are melting Cancer. Have you ever seen a mod mage melt bosses that hard? I haven't, and I play mod mage from the start. The other variant of this build is pairing Aphelion with Meridian or the Starshot. The damage potential of this build is huge. We are dealing with the Nightweaver that has elemental resist. Take a look how we are making the Nightweaver jump around like she's our little. This type of builds are very fun for me and I hope is the same case for you. Guys, I really believe that these 2 variants of the mod mage build are the best variants you can have right now in the game. The first one is the Firestorm with the Meridian. As soon as you trap someone in the Firestorm, you just spam this Meridian and see their health bar melt down. For this build, we are using the Chaos Gate, so we can have 15% increased damage when we can stay stationary and do damage with our mods, and the Flyers because they are getting trapped less often than the River. And our build is Golden Ribbon, Stone of Malevolence, Burden of Destroyer, Burden of the Gambler, and Shard Bandit Ring. The heart doesn't matter, you can use a Void Heart, Resonating Heart, or enlarged heart as well, it doesn't really matter. Our fragments are 10% elemental damage, 10% mod damage and minus 10% mod cost. On our guns, of course, we are using the Firestorm with Harmonizer, so we can give additional 25% mod power to the stowed weapon, which is going to be Meridian, and on the Meridian we are using Failsafe. There is a 15% chance to not consume your charge, and that's huge for the Meridian. On this build, the melee weapon is also irrelevant, you can use whatever you like. I'm going with the Ward's Edge with the Shocker. Here you can see the traits. I'm using one trait point for the strong back so I can get the green medium dodge with this armor. And again, for the armor you can use whatever you like, guys. You can go heavier if you prefer, that is up to you. And the second variant includes Aphelion and Starshot. The reason why you'd like to change to this variant is that there are sometimes some bosses that don't allow you to play Firestorm, so in this case you can play this build, which is super high damage as well. And our last build of today's list is the Hulk build that will make your health bar literally touch the tip of your skill. With this build, it doesn't matter who you're facing, you will never die as long as you're not stupid. This build have suffered some changes with a new patch. It's a little bit weaker than it used to be, but it's still very powerful. You can see that we are tanking Spiteful Annihilation even with low HP, and her damage is no sweat for our build. And for the super tank support build, we are using Medic with Healing Shield, Summoner with a Minion River, Navigator's Pendant, Ring of Robust, Fey Protector Signet, Seal of the Empress, and the key ring that transforms this build to a support tank build is the Burden of the Divine. Damage is reduced by 10% and 50% of self-healing goes to allies. That means your pets, your allies' pets, and also your allies' health bar. We are using Crystal Heart with 15% health, 15% armor and 5% damage reduction. Guys, the weapons and some of the fragments, or maybe even some of the rings, can be swapped because this much tankiness is too much and you have to add some damage to this build. I am showing you the utmost tanky you can be in the game, and then from there you can take this build and personalize it to your own preferences. You can go more damage, add Misty Step and do whatever you love with it. And here you can see the traits. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you liked the video, and comment down below which of the 3 builds you would use. That's all for now, I'll see you on the next one.
I'm just calling to say I